and you shall learn them and be careful to do them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. Not with our fathers did the Lord make this covenant, but with us, who are all of us here alive today. The Lord spoke with you face to face at the mountain out of the midst of the fire, while I stood between the Lord and you at that time, to declare to you the word of the Lord. For you were afraid because of the fire, and you did not go up into the mountain. He said, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. But you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love for thousands to those who live and keep my covenant. And keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath day to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, or your male servant or your female servant, or your ox or your donkey, or any of your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates, that your male servant and your female servant may rest as well as you. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out from there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commanded you, that your days may be long, and that it may go well with you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder, and you shall not commit adultery, and you shall not steal, and you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, and you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not desire your neighbor's house, his field, or his male servant or his female servant, his ox or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children and shall talk of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way and when you lie down and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on your doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thanks be to God for the gifts of the Scriptures. Amen. Will you pray with me? Dear Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. In today's reading from Deuteronomy, we heard the Ten Commandments, and then we heard the Shema. The Shema is the most basic prayer of Judaism. Shema meaning hear. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Observant Jews say this prayer twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. You might remember that Jesus saying that this is the greatest commandment of all of them, and the next is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. Can you think why this prayer would be paired with the Ten Commandments in Deuteronomy? I think it's because it is a continuation of the development of the relationship between God and the chosen people. It sets the expectations for the covenant relationship, Put God first. Love and trust the Lord your God with all your being, and everything else will be all right. God has already proven faithful during the escape from Egypt and during these last 40 years in the wilderness. You do the same. When giving the Ten Commandments, the Lord begins essentially saying through Moses, "Hey, listen up. You're about to enter the promised land that I gave to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Here is what you must do to remain in the land. Keep the promises of the covenant." This isn't the first time they or we have heard this. Remember, the covenant was made first at Horeb, while the Israelites danced around a golden calf. That was not good. They must do better. The reading began with, "I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery." Remember the whole crossing the Dead Sea on dry ground thing? Yeah, that was me. "You shall have no other gods before me." And why would you even want to after all that I have done for you? I've proved myself over and over again. Get with the program. Stay with it. "You shall not make yourself an idol, whether in the form of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or in the water below." Remember the whole golden calf thing. Not good. Not necessary. Do not do it. Idols can't save you. I have, I can, and I will. Remember that. God is setting the expectations for the relationship between Israel and God in the first half of these 10 Commandments. Have no other gods, no other idols. Don't be taking the name of the Lord in vain. Respect me, respect my Sabbath day, and don't go making other people work for you either. Remember what it was like in Egypt before I set you free. Don't be doing that to others. The whole love your neighbor thing. In other words, honor God as it is appropriate to do. The rest of the commandments deal with other relationships. God is saying if you are going to live together in community, you have to respect and honor each other as well. So honor your father and mother. Parenting isn't easy. Give them a break. You'll appreciate it when you become parents yourself. Besides, the parent-child relationship is the next closest relationship that we have with God. So honor your parents and your children. Do not murder. Pretty basic. Murder is a quick and easy way to destroy community. Just take a look at the south and west sides of Chicago. People from their friends and family are going to get mad and want revenge, and pretty soon you have a gang war. Again, not good. Don't do it. Adultery. That will make people as nuts as murder and mess up community in a heartbeat. Again, don't do it. Another way to break faith and mess up relationship in community is stealing. Another big no-no. Be content with what you have. God provides, so you don't have to steal. Don't bear false witness and lie about your neighbor. Again, not good for those in a relationship in a community. Trust is key, and trust must be earned and kept. Lying makes us untrustworthy. Don't covet your neighbor's something leads to envy and resentment and fear. Again, not good for those in community. God is saying that I, your God, will supply your needs. Be content with what is provided for you and what you earn. God is faithful and God is just. You can trust God to meet your needs, even in fear. Remember the whole Easter today. It's about taking back Joseph. But it turned out okay. But he hears the word of the promised land. He trusts me. That is my righteous people as an example to everyone else. So don't mess this up. Necessary now as they ever were. And I think we're getting less and less good at following them than we ever have been. The headlines are full of broken commandments and promises. Lying, cheating, stealing, even adultery and murder are pretty commonplace today, even more than they were in faithful Israel. King David broke 5 of the 10 in 2 days. Coveting, adultery, underhanded stealing, stealing, and murder. And in the centuries that have followed, we have not learned to be any more faithful. The 10 Commandments are meant to be freeing rather than restrictive. If we live by them, we're free to be our best selves, to live in our best community, from fear of each other. Author and historian Steve Shelley notes that we don't typically use covenants anymore. In modern times, we define most of our relationships by contract. These are usually for goods and services and for hard cash. The contract, formal or informal, helps to specify the expectations of these relationships. Now, the Lord did not establish a contract with Israel or with the church. God created a covenant. And there's a big difference between the two. Contracts are broken when one of the parties fails to keep the promise within the contract. If, for example, a patient fails to keep an appointment with the doctor is not obliged to call the house and say, "Why didn't you show up for your appointment?" Now, the office will often do that on the doctor's behalf, trying to maintain the relationship and out of concern for the patient. But the doctor simply goes on to the next patient and has the appointment secretary make a note that the patient failed to keep the appointment. And then the patient may find it harder to get an appointment the next time, having broken the informal contract. According to the Bible, however, the Lord asks, can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child that she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. The Bible is more like the ties between a parent and a child than it is to a doctor's appointment. If a child fails to show up for dinner, the parents obligation, unlike the doctor's, is mechanical. The parent goes out and finds out where the child is and makes sure that he or she is cared for, and perhaps making some boundaries. One member failure does not destroy the relationship. But a covenant puts no conditions on faithfulness. It's the unconditional commitment to love and to serve. And while we don't seem to be very good at the whole covenant thing, God always remains faithful, looking for our ultimate good, always seeking to restore our broken relationship. That is the overarching story of the Bible. God is faithful, we fall away, God works to get us back. Repeat. God's provision for Israel in the Exodus story is the central story of the Hebrew people. It's the ultimate example of God's faithfulness to God's promise and covenant. The Ten Commandments point back to that event and were given as a result of it. They were for Israel's good then, and they are for our good now. No good comes from breaking any of the commandments, even the one about keeping the Sabbath day holy. We are not the automatons. While secular society demands maximum productivity, God desires our maximum good. We need a day off to rest, relax, recenter, and to enjoy life. Now, it was unheard of before God's covenant for people to take one day a week off, and it seems like we're headed back in that direction. I had a conversation with a person the other day who told me that he no longer receives holiday pay. It used to be a good source of your income. But now employers seem to think that giving you a job is all the favor that is needed, and you should be grateful to be able to work at all, even Sundays and holidays. Trust and look we see the holy and sacred in other people, and they are all for it. We live in a consumer society that tells us people are valued by how much money they have and how many nice things they have, rather than how we act and treat other people. God, through the Ten Commandments and other directions given to us in the Bible, tells us that the good life is how we live in community. Kill our inner longings or desires. Quite the opposite. Loving God and loving our neighbor can. As those modern-day prophets, the Beatles, tell us, all we need is love. Love is all we need. That and a healthy respect for God and neighbor. So let us remember to live by all the commandments and to make the commandments through our lives. To love the Lord our God with all our heart and with all our soul and with all our might. In this whole principle of all the goodness and faithfulness in life. This is idolatry. and the root of all evil. And unfortunately, it is the central part of the consumer lifestyle. Let us remain in covenant relationship with our God may we go forth from the church as little children, seeking to serve rather than to be served, honoring God and honoring our neighbor. May it be so for you.